Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Lisa Palmer, Dr. Mum Bear, coming to you live from Central Florida on water, wine, and wellness. And I'm laughing because I have a little person here who is copying everything that I'm doing. And so that's entertaining. So let me know if you're on. Let me know. You can say hello. So water, wine, and wellness. What the heck is up with that? So those of you that tune in with me on Tuesday nights, you know that I pick a theme and the theme has the same letter throughout in most cases. And so with water, as a holistic physician, as a doctor of chiropractic, as someone who does a lot of holistic nutrition. Hi, Jordan. Um, Sometimes when people are having problems with their health, it comes from a very, very obvious source. Hi, Mary. Hi, Amanda. And the source is so common, and the source is so present everywhere. The source is so used every single day that no one ever thinks about it. No one ever thinks. They think maybe it's coming from mold, or they think maybe it's coming from a chemical, or they think maybe it's coming from a metal or a parasite, or they think maybe it's just because their mom had the same problem or grandma had the same problem, or it's all in their head, it's stress. And this one thing can cause lots of issues. And so that one thing, the first topic tonight is water. Your drinking water, in your bathing water, the quality is really, really, really important. So recently there was a train derailment. Some of you guys know what I'm talking about. And chemicals were spilled into water supplies, and it affected many states. It is affecting many states. And the chemicals that are in the water supply. So if you're curious about the chemicals in your water supply, you can go to ewg.org. You can look up your zip code. You can see the quality of your city's water. So majority of the US population is on city water, and your county or your city is responsible for the quality of your water. I actually had a city water worker as a patient, and I said, hey, how do you know how much chemicals to add of this and how much chemicals to add of that and all this stuff? He goes, well, we have certain criteria. He goes, but every now and then we do a burn. And I'm like, excuse me? He's like, yeah, we do a burn. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know your lingo. What is that? What's a burn mean? And he said that a burn means that every certain time, and it didn't seem to be a sequence to it, that they would dump extra chemicals into the water supply. So they would dump extra chlorine. So chlorine would be one of the most common chemicals added to our water supply. And these chemicals are good in that they can kill off like really, really nasty bacteria. Because if you drink really nasty bacteria, you die. Unfortunately, certain bugs can withstand the chemicals in the water, like parasites. Parasites are not always killed by chlorine. They might add fluoride to the water supply, supposedly for the health of teeth, but unfortunately, fluoride has been shown to decrease IQ. You may live in an area with radioactive elements, radioactive metals like uranium or radium, like barium, cadmium. Those radioactive elements can cause health issues. They can cause headaches. They can cause loss of hair. They can cause endocrine system problems. And then unfortunately, pharmaceutical drugs can get in the water supply. At one point, England had the highest levels of antidepressants in the water supply out of the whole entire world. And so what do you do? Like, what do you drink? Some of you guys are looking at your glass of water and you're like, I don't really want to drink that anymore. And in fact, there's times where I'm at a restaurant, and if they don't have bottled water, I don't really want to drink the city water because I know what's in it. There's actually particles of toilet paper in water that they can't filter out. So it's pretty gross. I don't know if you guys have heard this, but I've heard this for probably my whole life, that New York City has the best water. I was curious about that. I went to ewg.org and I put in Manhattan's zip code, and they don't have the best water. They have very polluted water, chemicals and radioactive metals and all that stuff. So if you go to ewg.org and you go to tap water and put in the zip code, it'll come down with a list of the different cities in your area or towns in your area, and you pick your water supplier, and it'll tell you the list of chemicals in there. It'll also tell you which ones have negative effects, which are all of them. It'll also tell you there's a drop-down menu, and it'll also tell you the radioactive elements in there as well. The problem with bottled water, so Nikki's like, I don't drink anything dining out if they don't have bottled water. So Nikki, I'm with you. If I'm really on my game, I'll bring distilled water from my house with me. But you don't always want to carry a water bottle with you everywhere, right? The problem with bottled water is some of the bottled waters are not much better than city water, right? At one point, there wasn't a lot of legislation on what you could consider bottled water. There's a city or town, however you want to look at it, here in Central Florida called Zephyr Hills. And my sister, probably in the early 90s, did a research on different types of bottled water and found they weren't much better than the tap water. I do believe that the distilled water bottles are better because it is required for them to write distilled. My understanding is that it actually has to be distilled, and then they add electrolytes back. So I will drink distilled water bottles. But yeah, if I'm in a bind, I will go without. Or sometimes I'll have hot water just because the heat of the water will burn off at least some of the chlorine. It'll be a little bit better than drinking straight up tap. Nikki brings her Yeti everywhere she goes. Good job. So the distiller that I like the best is called My Pure Water. There's different sizes. There is a countertop unit, and the countertop unit is not good for a family. I would say the countertop unit is good if you live by yourself, or maybe you have a significant other. But if you have a family of more than 2 people living in your household, you need a bigger unit if you're going to use that water for all drinking purposes. So I used to wake up in the morning and have a little bit of congestion, and I definitely realized the difference between I'm a well at my old house, I'm on a well here, and supposedly the area that we live in now had a lot of orange groves, and so they were spraying the orange groves, and I definitely noticed the difference between the water at my old house and the water here, to the point where my daughter noticed and she didn't even want to drink it. And I'm like, why don't you like the water here? And she's like, I don't know. It's yucky. It tastes bad. I'm like, huh. And then when we start drinking the distilled water, she'll drink the distilled water. So a good indicator is if your dog doesn't want to drink it, your cat doesn't want to drink it, your kid doesn't want to drink it, it's a good chance that there's probably some chemicals or metals in there. And when it comes to radioactive metals, there's really not a test that is available to the average consumer. So water, really, really, really crucial. Our colleagues in what we're teaching lately is that distilled water is the best water because it's going to take out in the distillation process. The water's heated up, it's evaporated back down, it takes out the chemicals, it takes out the metals. Does it take every single thing out? No, but it's the best that you can find. The good news is that you don't absorb as much radioactive elements from bathing water as you would drinking water. Can you still absorb chlorine? Yes. Can you still absorb other chemicals? Yes. But the radioactive elements seem to be more absorbed by drinking them than by bathing in them. If you know your water is disgusting, you definitely want to look at, for bathing purposes, looking at a shower filter or a whole house filter. And then we do run into a lot of babies with diaper rash, and it's because babies get baths, right? Typically babies get baths and they're sitting in city water and their little tushies get aggravated. So sometimes when we're working with an infant, we think it's the diaper because we can test diapers, or we think it's something the mom's using and it's actually the bath water. So if you were to get a shower filter, easy solution, you can fill the bathtub with the shower head, and that way the baby's getting filtered water. Hi, Becky. Lisa is asking, what about the distilled water in plastic jugs? Is that really safe? Yeah, Lisa, I don't love distilled water in plastic jugs because I believe that it starts to pull some of the plastics in it. I would prefer distilled water in glass, and I would prefer having your own distiller where you can distill your own water. So You can get really, really overwhelmed when it comes to natural healthcare. So, my rule of thumb is if someone's really, really sick, you got to take as many measures as you can to help improve their health. If you are looking to improve your health and you've been on a health journey and your water's not so good, look at what you can do to improve it. But it can be overwhelming when you start to learn about cleaning chemicals, about aerosols, about dryer sheets, about laundry detergent, about organic food, about inorganic or chemical food. It could be really, really, really overwhelming. So there's a seminar that we do on chemicals. Actually, I haven't done it in a while. And so I love the seminar and I don't love the seminar. I love the seminar because it gives a lot of great data. I don't love the seminar because it can overwhelm people. So I tell people during the seminar, hey, I'm going to give you a lot of data. Just pick one thing to work on. And that way you can improve your health. Okay, good. So hopefully that helps. You can ask me more questions on water if you want, but I'm going to move on to wine. And not wine like the red stuff or the pink stuff. Pink, that's probably not the right word. Blush, I guess, is better, but that sounds weird too. Or the white wine. I'm talking about whining like wine. You want wine with your cheese? You want cheese with your wine? Like whining people, whining kids, whining in life, right? And so when it comes to kids that whine, it is usually I'm tired, hungry, thirsty, right? So parenting tip, I try to have snacks with me. So the kids like routines, animals like routines, adults actually you like routines too. And so if you're used to eating at a certain time, drinking your coffee at a certain time, that is your routine. For a child, same thing. If you break that routine too much, they get whiny. And then my viewpoint as a parent is that's my fault because I let them get overtired. I let them get over hungry. I let them get like over it. Where I think most parents run into this risk is on spring break. So here in Florida, it's spring break. Kids are way off their routine and vacations and weekends. So my rule of thumb is on vacations and weekends, I try to keep routine in as much as possible and definitely keep good nutrition in and try to keep bedtime in as much as possible so then we don't get whiny. Same thing with adults. If I'm handling a patient who's over emotional, is kind of complaining, whiny, I'm going to look to see what were they doing that was moving them in the right direction, and then what did they start doing or stop doing that is moving them in the wrong direction, right? So if I have a case and all of a sudden they're just not moving in the right direction, what changed? Did they go on vacation and they just started eating a whole bunch of junk? Did they start adding more alcohol? Did they start adding more sugar? Did they, they found a cool new show and they're going to bed late? That's happened to me. I like Seinfeld, and every now and then I'll watch an episode, a rerun, and I'm like, I can watch one more. Oh, that was funny. I can watch one more. And then it's getting really early or really late in the morning and I'm out of my routine. And then the next day I'm whiny because I don't want to wake up. And I did that, right? So if you have kids in your life and they're getting whiny, look at what changed. Did they start eating more junk food? Did someone give them candy? Did they stay up too late? What changed? And then put it back to when they were doing well. If I'm working with a patient and they're, whiny, over emotional, not doing well, what changed? Did something happen when they went on vacation? Did they get a new medication from their medical doctor and they didn't tell me? Thyroid cases can be very complicated because typically endocrinologists will turn thyroid medication up. They'll increase the dose, they'll decrease the dose. To increase the dose, they'll decrease the dose. To increase the dose, they'll decrease the dose. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Patients that suffer with depression or anxiety, a lot of times their psychiatrists will also do that. They'll turn up the antidepressant, they'll turn down the antidepressant, they'll take that one out and put another one in. That's like, whew, that can be really, really messy cases. So look for what was the change? When were they doing well? And then what was the change that caused them to act in a way that you didn't like? and then put structure back in. So, when I was watching too much Seinfeld, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. And so, it's more of a one show rule or a Friday rule or whatever. So I'm well rested to take really, really good care of my patients. If I find that my daughter is getting whiny, I look at bedtime, right? So when is bedtime? So actually, she should be going to bed soon. Um, so what changed? What is okay, and how much sleep is required? The younger you are, the more sleep you need. And what is that time that we're okay? And then what's the time that whining will happen? And then Um, and then if she's whiny and overtired, whose fault is it? I'm the parent. It's my fault, right? And Lisa's saying, I just saw maybe the dingo ate your baby. That's an awesome episode, Lisa. So many good Seinfeld quotes. We just watched Puffy Shirt with the Low Talker, and she's like, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, watch Low Talker. I don't know the name of the episode, but that one's a funny one. The Puffy Shirt. Yes, I think the episode's called The Puffy Shirt. And then wellness. So what is wellness? I have some patients that think wellness means no symptoms. I have some patients that they think wellness means their problems are gone. You say you're making me laugh, but I don't want to be a pirate. Yeah, that was a very Pirates of the Caribbean shirt. Okay, cool. Amanda saw a Puffy Shirt too. That's funny. And so wellness is not just my definition of wellness, not just the absence of symptoms, but also 100% of the organs and glands in the body functioning properly, right? Functioning optimally. So we're looking at chemicals in the air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat. We're looking at minimizing chemical consumption. And because chemicals and heavy metals get stored in fat tissue, we're looking at detoxing out those toxins. Toxins allow bugs and pathogens to enter the system. So I'll have new patients say, well, I'm not toxic. I don't need to do a detox. And I look at them and I'm like, you don't really understand what we're exposed to. The toxins in the air we breathe, the toxins in the food we eat, the toxins, even organic. Organic doesn't mean no chemicals. Organic just means less chemicals. The toxins in the heavy metal exposures that we have, right? Every single medication has heavy metals in it, has chemicals in it. And some of those chemicals are put in there on purpose to bypass the liver. And so your drywall, your paint, your furniture, your couch, your car, that new car smell, that's chemicals. Everything, unfortunately, on our planet that is man-made has chemicals and they off gas. And so when a new patient's like, yeah, I don't know to need a detox, I'm like, oh my goodness. If you've ever had anesthesia, if you've ever had your teeth cleaned, if you've ever had your nails done, if you've ever dyed your hair, if you've ever taken a shower, if you've ever taken a bath, if you've ever brushed your teeth, if you've ever been to the dentist, I mean, it's like, yeah, you have chemicals. And so I encourage you, if you need help, if you're concerned that you have symptoms mean something's wrong, let us help you find the cause. Let us use the technology of quantum nutrition testing to find the cause. And once we find the cause, then we can help your body heal. I'm laughing because Leah's doing exercises in the background. If you see feet moving, that's what's happening. And if you have female issues, if you have hot flashes, if you have PMS, if you have breast tenderness, if you have irregular cycles, if you have heavy cycles, if you have light cycles, if you have skip cycles, those are all signs there's an imbalance hormonally in your system. The medical treatment is to give you hormones. That will never balance out your body. You will never be balanced out that way. Our way that we handle that is we look for the cause. Is there mold exposure? Mold will increase estrogen. Is there chemical exposure? That will imbalance the endocrine system. Is there heavy metal exposure? What is the cause? We look for what the cause is with quantum nutrition testing. We handle the cause using whole food supplements, herbs, homeopathy, and carbon technology. And we test to see what personalized combination program will give you the best result to handle the cause. And once we handle the cause, the body balances itself out and the person heals. And that's so cool. So if you need our help, reach out to us. My office practice name is Palmer Natural Health. You can go to palmernaturalhealth.com. You can look at our Facebook page. We have tons and tons and tons and tons of Facebook videos on various different health conditions and how we've helped. So if you need our help, reach out to us. I'm Dr. Lisa Palmer, Dr. Mama Bear. Good night, everyone.